Naishanda, founder of Save 1,000 Lives, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our mission and purpose is to educate the multicultural community, address the myths concerning organ donation, and also register 1,000 people to become organ donors. To become an organ donor, register at donatelifeflorida.org. You can also support the mission by donating funds on Cash App Save 1,000 Lives. And for more information, email us at save1000livestour@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Transplant Life or Transplant Talk with Naishanda. I am so excited that you all have come back to watch the show, to learn more information about organ donations and the need to become an organ donor. Our mission, again, is to be able to educate, to bring awareness, and also, especially in a multicultural community, we want to be able to get 1,000 people registered to become organ donors. That is my mission. And today's guest, I am so excited to have her here. When I first learned about her having a transplant, I had never met anyone that had, had a cornea transplant. And so I immediately said, I have to have Miss White, Dr. White, on the show so that she definitely can share her story. I want to recap very quickly. We have had 2 heart transplant recipients. We've had 1 kidney recipient, and now we have a cornea recipient. And so, in our community, there is a lot of people that are in need of a transplant. I did a little research today and found out the top 6 organ transplants. The number 1, of course, is kidney, followed by the liver, followed by the pancreas. And so these are, top number organs that people are in need of. And I can't wait for you all to meet Dr. White, Dr. Norma White. She is definitely excited. I'm so happy for her because we had a time just trying to make sure that she would get on the show and everyone could see her. And I'm going to bring her on now. Everyone, Dr. Norma White. Hello, Dr. White. How are you?
Hello. All right.
Hello. Yes, ma'am. I call you, you have a lot of firsts. So, there's a lot of firsts that you've done in your life. And I wanted, you are the first person I have ever met to have a cornea transplant. So I just want people to understand. And I have to tell, the viewers, with my lack of information, lack of knowledge about what actually happens during a cornea transplant, because immediately you begin to think, oh my goodness, they're taking someone's eye, like their total eye out of their head. But it's not like that at all. And this is why people need to be informed and educated and bring awareness to the multicultural community. So, Dr. White, thank you, and welcome to Transplant.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Now, we want to start at the beginning. When did you learn, or how did you find out that you needed to get a cornea transplant?
Well, I was in summer school in Iowa City, and being there, I had done a lot of studying, and I said, my eyes stay red all of the time. And so I decided I would go to the hospital there on campus because we could do everything there. They would do all of the examinations and everything would be free. And I did. And I told them that I was having this problem with my eyes being red all of the time and my vision blurred. And so they started doing tests. And suddenly they started calling in all of the students, the interns, and everybody saying, "Oh, come and look at this. Oh, no, I've never seen this." And I couldn't imagine what on earth was going on. And sitting in the chair, so what's going on? And of course, they all of the students were just in awe. And finally, they told me that I had an eye disease called keratoconus. And I said, "Well, what does that mean?" It says the corning of the cornea. And it was very difficult for me to see well and for the clouding to come so quickly. And I said, "Well, what does this mean?" So they said, "Well, eventually you could go blind." And of course, I was just there for the summer. And they advised me that when I got back to Jacksonville to go to an ophthalmologist. And they sent all of the tests that they had done to him. And of course, when he got the reports and he looked, he said, "Oh my, I'm going to have to do some more study on this." And he took time and went to China to do research on the disease. And when he came back, he told me that eventually I would need to have a transplant. And I immediately thought when they said transplant, they were going to cut my eye out. And I was just a wreck. But he tried to explain to me the procedure. That meant nothing right then. And so I think I must have gone to him about 10 years. And he said, "We'll just continue to study it. And when it gets to the place where it's very difficult for you to see, then we will discuss the next step." And so I waited until that time. And when it seemed to have been getting a little worse and worse, he told me that he wanted to select the person that he would get the transplant from. So he said, "I'm not just going to send you to a hospital. I'm going to do this on my own. And when I get the proper transplant, the proper cornea, then we will do the transplant." And so I went in the hospital for, I think it was a couple of days, and the surgery was done. And I had to stay home for about a month in recovery. I couldn't look down and could not really do anything. And finally, after a month, I was able to go back to work, and my vision started coming back, and I got a little better and a little better. So that's how it first started.
Well, I want to just educate our viewers, those of you that live in Jacksonville, Florida. Dr. White is a former educator here in Jacksonville. She was a music teacher, and then she worked. How long were you in our system?
37 years.
37 years, guys. So she definitely knows her stuff and what she's doing. And can you imagine being an educator having to have your eyes not working right for you, because you need that teacher withedness in the
Yes.
classrooms. So you have to make sure that you see everything. And as she said, she waited for a long time before she actually had the transplant. And then you're also very active, in the community as well.
Yes.
Yes, and she is a member of the Alpha Kappa Alpha Incorporated Supreme. I hope I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah,
Uh,
a past international president, which is called Supreme Bacillus.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So listen, I'm in front of royalty, or I'm just delighted that she is on the show. Um, Miss White, Dr. White has a lot of first. We have a lot of things in common as far as she was the first female at Florida A&M Marching 100 as well, where I also studied school, and very excited to meet her, when we met. But I want to get back into about how your conditions were with this time, because you not only had one transplant, not two transplants, but three.
Yes. See what happens, it affects both eyes. And so they did the worst eye first. And then about 10 years later, uh, I had the next transplant done. And of course, once you get a cornea transplant, they predict that it will last about 10 years. But mine did last longer because the first one that I had came from a very young person. And so it lasted a long time. And the second one, I said, I must have had that done about 10 or 15 years later. And then in the early 2000s, oh, by the way, my original doctor passed away, and he turned me over to someone that he had trained. And of course, naturally, when he saw all of my records, he knew what had happened in the past. And so finally, the first cornea started deteriorating, and he had to do that one again. So that was when the third one came about, when I had the first one replaced. So I have to go to the ophthalmologist twice a year, and they take a deep look into my eyes to see how everything is going and to make sure nothing is deteriorating. So eventually, I will probably have to have the second one replaced. But I was at the doctor about a couple months ago, and right then everything was looking good, so I didn't have any problems. But I do still have a little problem with vision. If print is too small, it's hard to read. But I just have to keep on top of it. And if anything happens, they can immediately move to replace it. And the first two were surgeries, but the last one was the laser. And with the laser surgery, you don't even know that anything is happening. There's no cutting or anything. You're just sitting in front of the screen, and whatever they do, it's done right there as you sit before the screen, and it does not. There's no pain with that at all. So it's a very easy procedure at this time.
Yeah, Dr. Norma White, I tell you, as for me, always having to go in and get my eyes checked, I think I would totally be, I would be scared. I would be fearful. I would be nervous about having someone go in. And I guess that's the reason why I haven't had LASIK, is because the fear of the unknown. But so many people have had the procedure for LASIK to correct their vision. But I'm just scared. Were you petrified? Were you scared?
At
To,
first, I was with the first one, and a
mhm.
little bit with the second, but
Okay.
with the third, it was nothing to it at all. I just my son carried me to the hospital, and they did it, and we went right on home. I didn't have to go through any procedures after that. So it's very easy now. They've really perfected it.
Yeah, I'm still scared. Well, when you had your first procedure, what year was your first cornea transplant?
It was in the late 80s.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had the condition almost 20 years before I ever had anything done.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. And I guess this is to also let the viewers know how very important it is to always get your eyes checked.
Yes.
And
Very important.
yes, ma'am. I remember with my youngest daughter, I had no clue, that she needed glasses, and she was maybe 4 or 5 years old when she started to need glasses. And so I,
Hmm.
I felt bad as a mom. I said, "Oh, I didn't know that my baby was having, she needed glasses." I definitely was feeling bad for that. And I do have a question. What is the from Marshall Anderson? What is the screening or matching criteria for cornea transplant?
Well, I really don't know because the first doctor just told me he wanted to find a younger person that would match it. The color or anything doesn't matter because I have the same color of eyes that I had all of the time. So
Mhm.
it's just a matter of trying to find a cornea that's healthy
Okay.
because they don't want to put one in that might go bad in say a year or two. And
Okay.
so each time I must have had outstanding corneas because for them to last as long, all of them have lasted longer than the 10-year period that
Yeah.
is predicted that it would last.
I'm so fortunate and blessed that many of my viewers, their transplant, their organs has surpassed the expected time frame for them to for the, for their organ to expire. You know,
Yes.
I am just, everyone is blessed just to be able to have that ability to actually say that. So I am asking a question to our viewers: how many of you are organ donors? And if you're not an organ donor, would you consider becoming an organ donor? And I was doing my research, and I want to make a correction to something that I said earlier. The top one is kidneys. The second one is the liver. Number three is the heart, and four is lungs. Five is pancreas, and the last one is the intestine. So I wanted the viewers to know that little bit of information. And cornea transplants is second behind people giving blood. And so when people go out and give their blood to the American Red Cross, cornea transplants also is right behind there. So, Dr. White, I want to know who was taking care of you, the first time. Who were your caregivers?
Well, my mother had already retired. And so she would come and stay with me during the day because I really didn't need that much help. And for the next two, I didn't have to have any assistance with those two. So I was staying with my son. My son and I were living together, and he was there to help me out. But I really didn't need that much care with the second and third one.
Okay, so I would ask you this: have you ever met any of the donor families for your
No,
transplant?
no, I never knew who any of them were. I know the first doctor knew, but I don't know about the second doctor.
Okay.
And I've been on a plane a couple times, and I have seen corneas in the little tubs that they have them in, and they have them up in the front with the pilot. And so that's the way they transport them to different places.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, so would you ever like to meet the donor family for the for your corneas?
Yeah, that would have been nice, but at this point, I don't know whether this doctor even knows who the ones were for the second and third.
Okay, so is it not like Donate Life and Life Quest? I guess I would have to find out if they go into depth with the cornea transplants.
Yes.
As so the question was asked: did you know her donor or the info, the race, the age, any of that?
No, I didn't know any of that. But the next time I go to my ophthalmologist, I'm going to ask him,
Mhm.
do they keep a record or do they know where they're coming from and keep a record of all that anything of that nature?
Yes, that would
That would
be
just be
exciting,
interesting to know. Uh-huh.
right? For you to see for you to meet the donor family, that
Right.
would really be exciting
Uh-huh.
to be able to have that. Um, so now you are. Um, I'm sorry. So now that you have had the transplant, what would you say to people that are on the fence about becoming organ donors?
It's a blessing for you to be one because everybody don't want to be a donor. But if we didn't have organ donors, look at the number of people who wouldn't even be alive because they weren't able to live without the donation. So people who are thinking about it, uh, just go on, and if you feel that you would like to do it, or if you're on the fence, talk to someone and let them reassure you that it's a wonderful thing to do, and it's a blessing to someone, and you can extend the life or better health for people by giving, by donating your organs.
Dr. White, do you have to take a lot of medications for um, your
No,
cornea transplant? Okay.
no, there were no medications that I had to take leading up to or since that.
Oh wow.
Now, right now I do have to use eye drops if I'm having any problems. But I don't think that's from the transplant. I think that's just normal things that happen because with things that are going on around you, and sometimes with the eye itching and all of that, I don't think that's because of the transplant. I think that's just a part of being in an environment with the pollen and all that we have. But there's no medication that you have to take for it ahead of time.
Okay. So
Now,
let me,
right after the transplant, there are some eye drops that you have to do for a while, and that is when I did have to have help. Whenever I had to have the drops put in, either my mother or my son had to put the drops in for me because it's very difficult to put drops in your eyes.
and now are you
And
sensitive to the
uh,
are you sensitive to the sunlight or anything?
uh, not really.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely want people to know, you know, yeah, well, yes, someone said, Marshall said, wow, no meds. So that is definitely, that's a blessing, not have to take the medications, because we know heart patients take, 20 plus pills. Some of them are taking
Uh,
20 plus pills a day. So, yeah, I don't think, there's not necessarily a living donor for the cornea transplant. And I have another question. Thank you, Kay. Pullings. I hope you consider becoming an organ donor. That would definitely be awesome. Um, Now I have met another person. Again, you were the first one, so I've met another person that she actually has a blue eye and a brown eye for cornea transplants, and I love her story. Beverly would love to have her on the show as well. And I thank you so much for being a part of this and telling your story. So waiting for 20 years, they're finally doing it in the 80s. Um, there's a lot going on, and now in 2000 is as simple as going in and receiving the laser surgery. So that's
yes,
um, less evasive. That would be less
it's very, very easy.
very easy.
Uh-huh.
Wow. So I hope people are hearing this and hopefully considering becoming, an organ donor. And hopefully they would. A lot of people don't know that one, it does not have to be in your driver's license. And then what they also don't know is that you literally can pick and choose which organ you want to be able to donate.
You
So it
donate.
doesn't
Uh-huh.
always have to be that. Um, there's always your heart or always your kidney. You can pick and choose. And if you would like to know more about becoming an organ donor, please go to donatelifeflorida.org, and you can find out more information, there in reference to that. And we also have more news that you are working on something really big, Dr. White. Would you like to share?
Yes, I'm working on writing my story, writing a book. My son has been on me for several years to write a book, and I've just been putting it off and putting it off. And they say there's some good in everything. So COVID-19 has made me stay home. And being home, rather than just sitting, being bored, doing nothing, I have been working on the book. So hopefully within the next couple of months, I will have finished it and can move on to the next step. And now that you have talked to me, I had not put anything in the book about the transplant.
Oh,
So I'm going to have to go back and
mhm.
add that.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes,
I
ma'am.
appreciate you talking to me about it because I hadn't even thought about that as including it.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone definitely has a story. And, what people don't know is, and I will definitely put it here, that every 10 minutes, someone is added to our national transplant list. Every
Uh-huh.
10 minutes. And also, unfortunately, 20 people die each day while awaiting transplant. So, this year 2019 was a good year for organ donations because they've seen an increase in the amount of people that became organ donors. So
Uh-huh.
I try to get all the information out I can in order to just bring more information to people about organ donations. And again, I'm going to ask everyone to follow us on YouTube, Transplant Talk with Naishanda. And if you would click the bell and subscribe, I have 91 people that have subscribed to our channel, and I'm working my goal to 100. And so, if everyone would do that, I would be forever, forever grateful. And so, Ms. Norma, if there is not anything else, I think we might be
Well,
some more.
I just want to say thank you to anyone who has donated or will donate an organ because it is something that is very helpful. And some people would not be alive today if it were not for donors. So I want to express my appreciation to everyone who has done this or will be doing it because it is quite helpful and it has helped to save my vision. And I know that I want you to know how appreciative I am to any of you who are part of it.
Thank you so much. Hi, Steve. I see you. Thank you for watching. I want to thank everyone for watching, for tuning in. Um, David B. Williams says, "Hello, Dr. White. I am a donor." Thank you, David. Thank you so much for becoming a donor. And guys, again, my mission is to bring awareness, educate, and bring this information to our community because it definitely is needed. Now, Dr. White, you're something different because with COVID-19, more other transplant recipients have to, be very, very careful,
Yes.
um, with COVID-19. So, how have you been doing, besides writing your book during this time?
Staying in as much as possible, walking around the block with my son every morning to stay healthy. But other than that, I have not been going out. And I don't think we ought to rush it. We need to take our time and be very careful and obey all of the rules and the suggestions that are offered. Because I understand that people can be walking around and don't even know that they have it. So it's very important for all of us to stay healthy and to be very careful.
Absolutely. And wash your hands, everybody. Wash your
Yes.
hands. That has seemed to be the theme with everyone in our communities. So Dr. Norma White, again, thank you. I appreciate you. Um, is there anyone you like to say hello to? And your granddaughters and your great grands?
Well, they're in Virginia, and I don't know if they know about this program today or not. I didn't tell them, but anyway, hello to all of my sorority members and all of my classmates and my friends and the students that I have taught over these years. And the program used to come on that says that everybody that's watching, hello to everyone. Good to see you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. White. Again, still educating us and keeping us informed and keeping us on the right, straight and narrow path. Thank you so much. And guys, she keeps talking about her son, and that is the infamous Marcel White. Also, former drum major at Florida A&M University. So we have ties just everywhere. And he's also a very good friend of mine as well. So to the White family, I say thank you, thank you, thank you. Derek Bryan says hello, Dr. White, and that
Hello.
he is also on the transplant list. So yes, you have quite a following. To teach 37 years, everybody should give you your roses before you while you still
Well, they're
here
doing
on
that.
earth.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And thanks
Absolutely.
for including me.
Yes, ma'am. I couldn't do this without you.
Oh,
Everyone has, you don't meet a lot of people that had a cornea transplant. So you were definitely a special rose for me. So thank you all. Thank you all for watching. And Dr. White, thank you again for your time.
all right.
And I will talk to you soon. And we're going to be able to share this video with your granddaughters, and so your great grand can
Okay.
see you on our show, Transplant
All
Talk,
right.
Rhonda. So thank
Okay.
you
Thank you.
and have a good evening.
You too.
All right.
All right. Goodbye.
Okay, once again, guys, let me say hello again to Steve Belcher and my friend Derek Bryant. Again, thank you all so much. Thank you thank you to Marshall for watching. Thank you to my co-worker, Ms. Nightingale. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all again for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. As you can see the ticker at the bottom, if you all will go there, I'm trying to get 100 people to subscribe to our show. And I have a special request. If you know anyone that needs a transplant or had a transplant and they would like for that information to come to light, I would appreciate it if you would just spread this message, share the show so that they could definitely come on and be a part of the show. Everyone has a story, and the number one kidney or the number one organ that people need is a kidney. So tune in next week when my special guest is none other than Kimberly Clayton, and she is also a pancreas and she's a pancreas recipient. And so I don't want to tell her story before she is able to, but she's very active in the community, and I can't wait for you all to hear her story. So I'm trying to give you all something different. And again, like, share, subscribe to the channel. God bless you. Thank you, and have a good night.